So in this video on leads functionality within Microsoft Dynamics 365 for sales, we're going to cover off what you can customize within the leads area. And when I say customize, I mean basic sort of behind the scenes configuration tools that your system administrator or your system implementer can rapidly change the system to reflect your needs. Now, this is one of the series we're doing specifically on the leads functionality in Dynamics. You can see links to others in the series below. Also, if you've got any suggested content ideas or you need any help with Microsoft Dynamics, please see the links below. So let's go into the system and I'll show you what I mean. I'm in the open leads area at the moment, but I'm just going to go into a test lead that I created earlier and open that up. Now, the reason for covering off what's achievable in terms of customization, I'm not going to go into how to customize. We'll cover that off in some future videos, I think. But I think it's quite important to understand what can be changed. I go in and see a lot of systems, and often they're not terribly well tuned to support how a particular business works, either because they weren't set up that well to begin with, or needs have changed over time and the system hasn't been adapted to support those changes. Now, this is a standard out-of-the-box lead record, which I'll put some test data into. So let's look at the core form. So I've obviously got some data capture requirements on the left here, and they're grouped into two sections. Obviously, I can adapt a data capture. If there's data capture we don't need, we can get rid of those fields from the form. If there's data capture that we do need, we haven't got, we can add fields to the form. So that's easy to do. And then I've got a number of different areas on the screen here. Up next, who knows whom. I've got the timeline. I've got an assistant. I've got stakeholders. I've got competitors. If those aren't relevant to me, I can remove those. Those can be removed from the form. There's no point having them there if we don't use them, because I think they just confuse people and confuse new users. Equally, the formatting of this can be very different. Now, this is in a 3-column format, but it could be a 1-column format, it could be a 2-column format. We've got options there as well. I've also got a number of tabs along the top here. In other words, if I click on this, I get another display of data about that lead. Now, I might want more tabs, I might want less tabs. Perhaps I want all of this details data to appear just in one tab, in this summary tab, because perhaps we've freed up some space by getting rid of who knows whom and the stakeholders area, for example. We can do that. I've got a files area here, which is asking me if I want to share my files with SharePoint. I might not want to. SharePoint might not be my document management system of choice, so I can get rid of that tab if I wanted to. So I've got a lot of flexibility around what data is displayed here. Equally, I can have multiple forms. You can see here I've got one called lead, I've got one called sales insight. I'm in the leads at the moment, but I could have multiple forms looking at the lead record. So it might be the data capture upon one team in my business is very different from another, and I might want to have different forms for each team to have. We've got that option. The other element on the screen I'm just going to cover off is this top part, which personally I dislike, I have to say. It's not intuitive. If I click a field here, I can edit it. If I click a field up here, I can't. And it's always taken me a while to realize you've got a little down arrow there. If I click on that, now I can update the field, which seems to be less than intuitive. So I generally don't put key information there. I think the eye is drawn to the main screen anyway, and I think it tends to get missed here. If you are going to put information there, there's no harm in replicating the field down here so that you can populate the field here, and it will automatically populate up here as well. Anyway, that's the form options. The other sort of big piece on here, this is business process flow. This is the out of the box one. That actually spans both the lead and the opportunity record. And we've got this qualify, develop, propose, close. Now, I could have different stages, I can have more stages, I can have less stages. That's entirely up to me. And I also change what data the system is prompting me to capture at each stage. So this is the out of the box one. It may not suit my business processes. I can change that. I can have different fields there. I can also make fields there mandatory if I wanted to. In other words, I can't move from one stage to another unless that field has been filled out. We can also have more than one business process flow. Going back to my example before, if, for example, my organization had two very different parts of the businesses with two very different leads that need to be managed, I might have different process flows. I can have both or all process flows available to all users, or I can manage what process flows are available to users based on security roles. If, for example, and some people find this business process flow view confusing, I don't have to have one at all. I can get rid of that and just have a basic data capture on the form here. In terms of processing the leads, I've got the option here of qualifying a lead. If I just click that, I'm just going to ignore that. I've got lots of test data that I've created in here, so it's thinking I'm creating a duplicate. I'm just going to ignore that. Now, this is asking me, what do I want to convert my lead to? Do I want to convert it to an account? Do I want to convert it to a contact? Do I want to convert it to an opportunity? I've set the system up through configuration to give me the option of creating an account, contact, or opportunity, but I can configure it so it forces me to create an account, or it forces me to create a contact, or forces me to create an opportunity, or forces me to create one or two of those. And I can change that to reflect how my business works. If we're not doing opportunity management as part of the system, there's no point forcing me to create an opportunity. If I'm selling business to consumer rather than business to business, there's no point forcing me to create an organization record. So we can tune that. We can also tune the disqualify. So at the moment I don't want to qualify this lead, I want to disqualify it. I've got some reasons here that I can choose from in terms of why I'm disqualifying it. But again, it's configurable within the system. Now, if we just come out of here and go back into the views area, I'll just click on that. This is a system view called Open Leads. Again, it's managed in the back end of the system, something your system administrator can change. And if I click the down arrow, I've got a lot of other system views here. These system views can be adapted. So these are the columns it's displaying at the moment, but if I wanted to display different columns or in a different order, then I can change that. If I wanted to edit the filters in terms of what data is being brought back for that specific view, I can change them. Equally, I don't have to do that through the system filters. I can do that through creating my own personal views if I wanted to create a specific view for myself. And in a future video, I will show exactly how you can do that for leads. Finally, let's talk about the dashboards. So if I open the dashboard for a lead, I can see I've got a depiction of streams here. Again, this can be tailored by the system, and I've also got a visual view, show visual filter, and again I can tailor what charts are displayed here. So I've got options within the standard system lead view, but if I wanted to create my own lead dashboards, I can do that. Again, see below for a link to where we've done that and show you how you can create your own custom lead dashboards. Now, that covers everything I wanted to go through. I want to emphasize this doesn't require in-depth coding to make any of these changes. These are done through very simple system configuration tools that your system administrator or your system implementer can use to make these changes. So in answer to the original question, what can you change on the lead functionality within Dynamics? Well, the answer is a lot. You can really make it work the way that you want it to work and tune it to your specific business processes. Anyway, Hopefully you found that useful. You can see links to others in the series we've done specifically on leads below. Also, if you've got any suggested content ideas or you need any help with Microsoft Dynamics, please see the links below. Thank you very much for your time today. Hope to see you again soon.